Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, I'm so frustrated, reacts to Anthony Joshua's victory in the rematch with Andy Ruiz. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. Reworking. Sign up for ESPN Plus using my link. It does help the channel. Let's get right into the mix. Deontay Wilder did an interview, and the link is in the description. He reacted to Joshua's unanimous decision victory over Andy Ruiz, much needed victory and win for him. This is what the Bronze Bomber had to say. Joshua did what he had to do in the ring. He ran around the ring and he was on his bike all day. Basically, he had Klitschko in the camp and he was a lot like Klitschko. That jab, grab, hold method, that's all he did tonight. I'm not coming in after losing to this guy to just dance around and grab and jab and hold. I'm going to show the world and convince them that I am the very best and that no one else is close to me, especially with what's going on in the division right now. It's a time of proving who is the best. He goes on to say, Joshua had many times he could have gone for the finish after he landed the right hand. When you land the right hand, you've tackled the distance. When you land the punch, you know you're in exact position for the second time around. But he was so hesitant. Joshua mentally was there to survive. The Klitschko method. The difference is my mentality is that of a beast, a warrior, a king, an emperor. All those things. What does it say? All those things, if he calls himself a king, he's just one on the nicer side of it. If he calls himself a king, this is a brutal sport, and that's how I treat it. I ain't showing no love for anybody in that ring. End quote. Man, I didn't space out the font enough, so it was like hard to read. Plus, the background, but we got through it. Smash the like button. Deontay Wilder is the king of the heavyweight division. I think you guys all know it now. Some people, at one point had Joshua. I think Wilder's right. Joshua did what he had to do. My thing is this. I can't fault Joshua for doing whatever he felt he had to do and getting the victory. Because at the end of the day, I personally would rather have a win, a W in the win column than an L in the loss column. However, with that being said, it wasn't an eventful fight. It definitely didn't live up to the expectation. They got Sylvester Stallone to do, this whole one day. Andy Ruiz is like the Mexican Rocky, and they did all this Mexican Rocky stuff, and Ruiz didn't even let his hands go. You can say whatever. Joshua boxed well. His jab was on point. He handled the weight loss really good. And he moved around a lot, and he was able to keep that conditioning wise and cardio. But he did, that ring look huge. That's one thing people aren't talking about. And the ring looked huge, and him being 6'6" versus Andy Ruiz, who they say he's 6'2", but he looks a little bit shorter to me. But whatever. He used the whole perimeter of the ring and took shots. Wilder's also right when he's saying this is, to me, Joshua, with these two Ruiz fights, this is forever, or at least for the foreseeable future, changed the imagery of who we thought Joshua was. Because Eddie Hearns and Joshua himself, they built Joshua's brand on being a knockout artist. But after the June performance and then a follow-up with that, where, you did what you had to do to win, but you took the win in the way that you almost guaranteed your best chance of not getting hit with anything. To me, that is telling as a fighter that it's almost like they don't have confidence in Joshua or trust him fully as a fighter yet, as a developed fighter, to do anything more that. So they gave him really one task and he stuck to that game plan and he was very disciplined with it. But it reminds me, this is a personal analogy, but I'll give it because I think it might put it in perspective for you. I was a little kid. Me and my family went to Universal Studios. At Universal Studios, they had this like studio recording room with like fake instruments, and you would go in and you could make your own music video. And I remember my older brother and older sister and me, you know, my siblings, we were like, oh, we want to do one. So my older brother picked Bobby Brown, like My Prerogative, right? And he was older than all of us. So he was playing Bobby. He was like, and like before it started, my sister was older. I'm the youngest. My sister and my brother are older. So they were kind of ready, like camera ready and stuff. And I was like, what do I do? You know, and they was like, just get on the piano and then act like you're playing the keys and then move your feet side to side like this. And then they showed me. And when they showed me, I said, okay, cool. So if you watch the whole video, I'm just acting like I'm playing the piano, like, you know, and I'm just moving my feet side to side, back to back, and I'm doing this over and over. Versus them, they were a little bit older, so they had more personalities and, you know, mannerism. My brother acting like he's really Bobby and like, you know, just freestyling it a bit more. And my sister too, she's like, you know, dancing and doing her thing, and I'm the only one, and I just look kind of like stiff, you know what I'm saying? I'm just doing, and I'm just moving my feet, kind of doing the same thing on a loop. That's kind of how I felt with Joshua's fight. You know, he got the victory, he did what he had to do, but they didn't want him to do nothing extra. And when you look at other, like, let's say Floyd Sr. talking to Floyd, if Floyd's boxing somebody and it's like he's in the 6th, 7th round, Floyd Sr. might say, man, get more aggressive, whoop his ass, you know, and say, put some more on that because you're dominating, and I trust my son that he can put some more pressure on this dude and get him up out of there. You know, get more aggressive, but be smart. But with Joshua, it was pretty much what Wilder's saying. It was like, this is the task. Use your height, fight tall, and don't do anything extra. So that shows me that they're worried about Joshua's chin, his durability, and, you know, really his ability in the inside exchanges. Because he literally for 12 rounds, and that's what made it kind of a monotonous fight, because he literally, like Wilder's saying, for 12 rounds used to a fault. Well, I can't say to a fault because he won, but he used a lot of movement to the point where it's unnecessary at times to keep this guy away. Clinch, you know, it's like he had 3 modes he can do. If he wasn't punching and he was in close proximity, clinch or move, just like Wilder's saying with the Klitschko fight. To me, this is kind of forever, or at least for the foreseeable future, kind of hampering who we thought Joshua was. To see a knockout artist and this is their game plan, you know, it makes you put different stuff into perspective. But I get it. Joshua had to secure the victory one way or another, and it's better than a loss. But what Wilder's saying really can't be refuted. You know, he's saying, I mean, you had to look at him. Wilder's not necessarily considered the most fab technical boxer ever, even though he has more skills technically than people give him credit for. But he's telling you the truth. He's saying, man, I ain't finna do all this grabbing and holding stuff. If I got beat, then I'm coming for the kill. But that's kind of his style. Joshua, it shows you that his style is, you know, he has power, but they don't really trust him to, at least against a power puncher that already hurt him, that they know can hurt him. They don't trust him to do like anything more. With that being said, Ruiz, you know, he's saying he gained too much weight. It looked like it, you know, because when he was at the weigh-in, I didn't get to see him without a shirt. So I'm like, man, 2 days ago, he didn't look 283. So I don't know what he did with his weight, but he looked big. But more importantly, when he had his shirt off in the ring, when they actually fought, he did look bigger than the first fight. And his performance was flat. He wasn't letting his hands go. And some people say he wasn't cutting off the ring. I think he was cutting off the ring and applying pressure, but he wasn't throwing no punches. Joshua ain't just, he was told and instructed to keep moving, you know what I'm saying? Ruiz, the thing is, people were saying he didn't cut off the ring because he had no offense behind it. He had no jab. He wasn't even jabbing to come in, bro. He was not wasting any punches. So it's hard to explain because it's not a masterclass performance, but it was definitely an improvement for Joshua, June 1st. And I give him props just based on June 1st went so horrible. You needed anything you can get to not take 2 L's back to back. So he did what he had to do. But, it wasn't the most scintillating fight or, this epic war that people are going to remember for years to come, anything like that. But sometimes you got to take the win how you take it. But that's Wilder's opinion on the situation. And styles make fights. Wilder's style is not to try to overly box you, especially if he had a chip on his shoulder because he had lost to somebody. And you can say that the same for a lot of guys like Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis can box, but when Hasim Rahman and Oliver McCall beat him, he avenged both of those losses, but he avenged both of them by knockout. So I don't think Joshua is like Lennox Lewis, because they didn't even feel like, even though Lennox Lewis got knocked out with 1 punch by Hasim Rahman, his coaches, I don't know if it was Manny Stewart at the time, but his coaches still had enough confidence that, hey, now that this guy can knock you out, you were just sleeping, you fell asleep at the wheel and got caught with something. Show him what's up. And that's kind of what Wilder is saying. Same thing with the Oliver McCall. But with Joshua, this why it's kind of forever molded it, is he's a knockout artist, but he had to fight a hesitant, extremely timid, move at all times and lose weight type of style, which that's not really been his DNA as a fight. I mean, this is a guy has all knockouts except for Parker and Ruiz. So it showed people, and I wouldn't even say in a good way. It's good to show people different rank. Like if you didn't know they had a jab or something like that, and you show people you can jab, that's something. But to me, I don't really know what this does for his brand in terms of, he's supposed to be this exciting knockout artist. And people were even saying he could knock out Wilder. But the way he fought, it reshapes things and it makes people look like, okay, we know who the aggressor would be. We know why the fight's not going to happen. And speaking of that, that's the saddest thing about it all is Joshua winning. I don't think there was anyone in the Saudi Arabia venue or at home watching or whatnot that felt confident that, hey, Joshua just reclaimed his belts. Wilder will be fighting Joshua next year. I don't think anyone expected that. So to me, I think his performance was lackluster to the division. It was a good personal win because he just had to win. Does that make sense? He did what he had to do in front of the person. Ruiz being overweight, that's his problem. But I don't think it left the statement on the division, nor did it give people the confidence that we could get undisputed. He collected his belts, but now it looks like it's going to be keep away. And Wilder says one face, one name, one champion. And, it's just what it is. But I think these 2 Ruiz fights have defined Joshua. He's going to be a bit harder sell in America off of these 2 performances because Klitschko, people respect Klitschko, but he wasn't the most exciting fighter. That's why he did a lot of fighting in Germany and stuff. So to me, with the 2 Ruiz fights particularly, it's made the Joseph Parker fight. We kind of seen this too, but the 2 Ruiz fights back to back, it is definitely ushered in the Wilder era because Wilder smoked him out, still undefeated, and he's knocking people out 1 punch. With Joshua, he had to get the win how he can get it, and he did it. But it wasn't like, I didn't see this go viral the same way Wilder when he's knocking people out, or these explosive performances by Gervonta Tank Davis. So I just think it's going to be hard for Joshua to transition. He's going to have to fight Kubrat Pulev in the UK or Usyk, and I think that's what they prefer. I don't think Eddie Hearn wants to fight this man, Deontay Wilder, with his fighter. But that's Wilder's response. He says he ain't with the the running and the dancing and grab, he would be going for the jugular. And that's kind of what people expect in the heavyweight. But Anthony Joshua, he just needed to win some kind of way, and that's what they came up with. Ruiz, very disappointing performance. Never really got into a rhythm, never let his hands go. And I do credit some of that to Joshua, but I also think some of it was Ruiz. I think he couldn't let his hands go. There was another reason why he couldn't let his hands go. And, you know, it looks like the weight, and he didn't take this seriously, which is a huge disrespect to Anthony Joshua. That's still a gold medalist and a once beaten fighter. Just because you had an easy time the first time, I don't know why Andy Ruiz would have thought that Joshua wasn't going to come correct or try to come with a better game plan. But it is what it is. That's Wilder's response. That's my thoughts. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.